Hello everyone, this is Johnny with BallBreakers Clan again, bringing you another Ultimate Golf Tournament. We're going to play the G3 Golf Summit 3 tournament. It's a multi-round tournament with fairly decent payout. This video is brought to you by Ultimate Golf and Miniclip. If you'd like to play and join along with us, you can find the link in the description. Also in the description, you will find links to other streamers and people teaching about the game itself. So this is just a qualifying. Top 50 make the cut. In this round, there are no re-entries. As you can see, the rewards are trophy balls and pro D1s or high flights. Pretty good rewards. But you don't want to go out in all 3 rounds since it's an 18-holer, because you risk wasting balls and not coming out ahead. So we're going to try to play this with mainly lower tier balls. We're just looking to make the cut into the top 50. Let's see where that is now. So right now it's a minus 19. Let's look at what the possible is. So it looks like 22 is what you get if you go through without making a mistake. So let's go ahead and start with hole 1. So par 4, got decent tailwind. Let's switch to our high flight ball. With the Pro DX, maybe even the Mojave, and a higher level club, you could probably drive this green. We're going to go ahead and see how far we can get down. So 334, not bad. That'll put us in short range. Probably about mid wedge. Like I said, if you had the Pro DX, you're going to get an extra percentage on that drive. If you had the red Barchetta with a little bit higher, you're going to drive really close. So there's our max club. We're going to use the full top approach. We're going to set up relatively short due to the tailwind. So it looks about 55% club. We got a 9.4 tail, so we're going to get a pretty big push. So we want to make sure we leave ourselves plenty far back. You don't want to be right up on there. You can see the guide is going to drift off to the left. So you see about the last 2 squares, it starts deviating. So let's go ahead and aim from here. 9.4. We're going to pull back 4.6. We're going to see how well we roll in. Dead center. Nice little eagle to start. So that was about a cup offset to the right from where we were lined up straight, because when we were pushed up, we could see it turned about a cup. And due to the tailwind, we gave it a couple extra squares a run. So we're going to swap back to the high flight. That leaves us at a perfect max distance Bigfoot. Now you can use lower wind ball here to lower the or a higher wind resistant ball to lower the wind. But this is day one qualifying. We don't want to be wasting a lot of balls when our main goal is to earn extra balls than what we play. So this is an uphill bounce, so it's going to be short, but we have the tail. We're going to adjust set 0.7 to 1, so about 7.1 rings. As you can see, the slope and the grain is causing a short bounce on the guide, but we're also going to get a push from the secondary on the wind. You can also see that we get a little bit of a bounce to the left. So we need to use a little bit of right spin to straighten that up. There we go. We can now see the second bounce is straight in line with the pin. So now we're going to adjust our 7.1. There's 4. .1. You notice that pulls us back. So now we need to push back up. We're going to be at min. We're going to underpower this a little bit because we were right there on the line. So we're going to go just until the circle closes. Stupid auto release. Been sanding and painting all day. Doesn't do well for contact with the screen. Got to put our Nirvana in. So a little shortcut for whenever you're going to change clubs. If you tap the name, it pulls it up front, so you don't have to scroll all the way through. I had been scrolling all the way down. Alright, let's see if we can rescue this. Our ninja has a pretty decent guide. We're fairly short. We should be able to play pretty much landing as close as possible. Here we go. Nice rescue. We lose our tiebreaker points, but at least we don't lose the stroke. So it's a par 5. Fairly long one. We got a huge headwind, so we got to break this down if we're going to make it on a 2. We need those tiebreaker points. So I'm going to take one of the free balls they gave us, and we'll play with it. Looks like my stream might be lagging a little. Alright, so we've got a headwind again. Making this one extremely hard. We're going to need about 4 rings. Let's change some settings here. Okay, let's see if that helps. Uphill slope just caught us, kept us from rolling out. But we'll have a nice simple wedge. Don't really need to adjust for the wind. You'd think it's simple, but look at that glitchy spot there. When you get those little glitches on the green, you never really know if it's going to drop or not. Alright, so we've got this hole 4, par 3. At least it's a tailwind. We're going to be at max long iron. This almost requires overpower. What I'll probably do... What are we looking at? Needing about a ring push up. I may just play safe and push up and overpower. Because the last thing we want to do is clip that rough. Because if you clip that rough, it's just going to die there. Alright, let's switch back to basic ball, or well, the high flight ball. We should be able to reach, no issue. So we're going to go 7.6 rings. We're not going to overpower anything. We should still be able to reach the green. So we're going to have a slight headwind again. A little bit more than mid Bigfoot. So we have an uphill or downsloped green. So it's going to shorten our bounce. So I want to play it a little closer because we're not going to get the rollout. There is a point at which that flattens, but given we have a headwind and we're close to max, we're probably not going to hit that point. It also bounces off to the right, so we need to adjust with some left spin. Okay, let's go 6.6 rings. So we pulled into overpower there. So I'm going to let off 3 rings. And I'm going to give it just a little bit of overpower. So hitting great didn't help, but we did end about pin high. So this is a green, or a hole that is drivable if you have a tailwind. We do not have a tailwind, so we're probably going to end up in short iron range. I'm not going to switch balls to try to get closer or get a better shot. I'm just going to attempt to get into a good short iron range, give us a chance at the drop with, you know, at least a decent tiebreaker opportunity. So there's max on the hive. Got a little bit further than I thought we were going to. Also ended up with tailwind. So had we kept this a little more right and maybe used a wind ball, we probably would have been a little closer or a little better at our shot at our drive. We're going to land right there, which is about 85% club. We'll spin to just short, or not just short, but towards the hole, about 2 squares short. So if we stretch it out, we can see not much turn in the guide. So now we can lower that spin and know that we can just aim right at the pin. Okay, and 9.9. It's going to be 10 rings. So we were set up, needed a little more back, and we landed a little right of our aim point. Okay, did not expect that. So we gave back our extra. Okay, we don't need a bigger ball here. We'll be able to reach with the El Capitan at the very worst. Having headwind does not help. We will need the El Capitan. I was expecting, hopefully, a little more cross, not a headwind. It's really hard to plan for your second shot when you don't know what they're going to do with the wind from the first shot. Hopefully we clear that rough. We hit the banked fringe, but it allowed us to still get in the green. The fringe threw us, but we have a putt, and we got some tiebreaker points. So what I'm doing is I'm just looking for a good solid shot where we're lit up and I got a little bit of room. It did not hit perfect, but since I was set up on the right side of the green and I made sure I had room for it to be left, I gave myself room to get the drop. So this shot is gonna rip back a little bit. So I'm gonna set the second bounce. First thing I'm gonna do is straighten this up. I'm gonna put the second bounce on the right side of the pin. Just a little bit past it. And I'm going to adjust 7.9 rings. Now I'm going to readjust because I messed up. Just a little under adjusted. We got the rip back we were looking for. We ended up past the pin as we were wanting. But as you can see from the rip back, it went to the left which is why we were setting up on the right side of the pin. But since we bounced on the left side of the pin, we didn't rip it into the hole. Had we been, another 0.2 on our adjustment and came in right side of the pin, that would have dropped for a hole-in-one. This is a long hole, small landing area, and we have a pretty decent headwind. So we're going to use a special ball here. Again, we're trying to limit these. But if we really want a chance at getting the tiebreaker points and getting on the green in 2, we need to lower that wind. We only got a 283 drive. If the wind was 10 where it started originally, we would have been a lot worse off. Let's switch back to the Hellfire, because the Hellfire is going to be a little bit longer. We can land on the green, a little more controlled bounce. So after about 2 rings, it goes downhill a little bit. I'm going to put 2 top on this, and I'm going to adjust 2 rings. Needed a little bit more top. Probably could have got away with 3.5, or I could have overpowered it. So we finished with a -12. We had the 1 mistake. We have 1 extra, kind of balanced out. Our tiebreaker is pretty pitiful. But all we need is a 7 on the back, an 8 to be safe, a 10 or 11 to get into first. Alright, so there's max Hellfire. Gonna leave it at 3 rings so we can potentially come up short, and because we have a tailwind. 5.9. There's 4. 5.9. Good landing. Good roll. Came in just a little short. Would have been a little right. But good tiebreaker. We really need to start trying to focus on getting the tiebreakers for this back 9. Alright, so we're going to pull back and do wedge here. This is uphill, so I'm going to put it a little closer. We're going to adjust 13 rings. I believe I might have been a little short on my adjustment. Yeah. So we came in a little less than what we needed. Another big headwind. We should still be able to reach. We're going to play as far left as we can, really. because we want to try to take the trees out of our way as much as possible. Okay, we will have room to adjust, which is good. Let's take a look at this bounce. So uphill. So I'm going to set up at 2 rings. We're also going to get a right bounce, and it fades off. So we want to try to play it a little short just for safety. I'd rather favor coming up short than hit the pin and end up going into the rough. We don't want to drop a shot like we did earlier off of one that just barely trickled. So we're going to adjust 5.5. There's 4. 5.5. Come in right at pin high, a little right. So we over adjusted just a little bit as far as the left to right. But we set up at a great distance from the first bounce itself. Good speed. Need a little bit more on the adjustment again. On those, I could have played that with the driver, but I think the driver wouldn't have held it as close as playing short with less backspin and letting it roll up. Alright, so there's the min, there's the max. If we set up at 1 ring, we're playing at about mid. Which would need about 7 rings. Let's see if we even have 7 rings to adjust. Nope. So what we're going to have to do, instead of playing my way I would typically play this, is actually let off on the backspin, play it a little further back and give us more room to adjust. And when you're using wind balls on these holes, it's a lot easier to play them. But if you can qualify with balls that we all get a ton of free, still looking to make an extra from the one we made a mistake on. So again, we're in a situation, we need about 6 rings. We can't adjust playing up close. So we're going to use 2 top. Going to use some right spin. So that way we can play a little further this way. It's an uphill on that last little stretch, so I'm going to set up about 1 square. And then I'm going to do 6 rings. Or 6.5 rings. So we could have set up due to that slope even closer, about a half square from the cup. Those slopes tend to eat the speed on the ball. Alright, so we're going to take our chance, try to get an extra here. We're going to try to get up close, get a short wedge. This is one of the balls we got from the season pass. It's a 10% ball. It's got a little bit of wind reduction, but not a ton. So let's see where our max club is. Right there. We got a little bit of a tailwind, mostly cross. So there's full club. We're going to put max top on it. And pull back. Look at about 2 squares short. and that's about 70% club. So we're going to adjust 3.8 rings. So now we're going to zoom in and try to line up. It is uphill, so I'm going to push just a little closer. Doesn't seem to curve too much at the cup. Just a little over adjusted, and the hill didn't eat the top spin as much as we expected. So we should have been set up at least 2 squares before the hole. And probably set up on the right side of the cup for the turn. So missed opportunity. But we get another one on the next hole. So we're going to try again. So pretty bumpy looking green. So we're looking at about 45%. And we got quite a bit of turn. And it's a tailwind. Just died a little short. If we had a little more speed on that, it would have continued and dropped. So we had 2 good opportunities there. Just missed them both. So minus 22 with a 17. So we can't take first. We can get into the near top, but we can't take first. And this is a really hard hole. Really hard to reach. So that one mistake is going to cost us the win. Not that we needed to win. And the inability to capitalize on some of the other short chips we had. So odds are we're not driving to green here. Hopefully though we can get close fringe and get a chip. Because the pin is in a position where the roll is not good. Interesting. So it was going towards the cup, and then it broke left at the last square. Something that our ball guide did not show us whatsoever. Well, that is the G3. We will qualify with the score, so there's no need for us to redo it. And that'll be it for tonight. Good luck, everyone. Have a happy new year. Stay safe out there. And I will see you next time.